must be in cuckoo land now, quite euphoric. They won't quite openly say they are obedient, but it's pretty obvious that fantastic, that they are adherents of the obedient movement. However, today we have as our guest the Chief Spokesperson of the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Committee. But before we formally introduce him, let me do what we usually do when we have a guest in the studio, so as to put what will be our discussion in context. The Labour Party, Nigeria's fourth republic's party of ideology, or a political papa, mama, picking party for opportunists. Ask an average elector who voted for the Labour Party at the last round of federal elections, presidential and National Assembly elections held on the 25th of February 2023, and she or he will likely tell you she or he cast that vote because of the party's presidential candidate, His Excellency Peter Gregory Obi. It is obvious that a cult of fanatical followers who have christened themselves as the Obedients are the newest species of Nigeria's Homo politicus, ostensibly educated, but as organically, as rapidly partisan as you can find party or political idolaters in any liberal democracy in this era of boisterously warped information architecture, where facts genuflect to fantasies in ideologues' echo chambers, and righteous and unrighteous anger are commonly appropriated by opportunistic politicians. It used to be that facts are sacrosanct. Indeed, in the age of the digitalia, where unerasable digital footprints are captured in perpetuity, but arguments about fact are as multicolored as the rainbow, and partisans marshal them dogmatically as religious faithful espouse their beliefs. I wonder what happens to understanding and healing in an acrid environment of recriminations, allegations, and unusable anger. Like most liberal democracies, irrespective of whether they are located in the northern or southern hemisphere, our guest today is the chief surrogate of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the recently concluded ballot. Dr. Yunusa Tanko, welcome to Power Corridor on Law FM 103.9 in Lagos.
Thank you very much for having me. And then to the obedient believers in this particular radio station and worldwide, I bring you felicitations and greetings that you should be consistent and believe that our mandate that have been stolen will be recovered. Your introduction just make me to remember our days back in the struggle when we will step out and we speak in very voluminous English language that is enabling to convince the order of the people, but not to confuse them in any way, but rather, and the simple truth about it is that, are we in the right situation? This intro make me to remember the days of our struggle when we put ideological belief at the fulcrum of our struggle, and yet at the end of the day we have a lot of different individuals, permit me to use the word, those who do not have that particular capacity, or probably they have the knowledge of leadership to have lead us in this country, and they've continued to manipulate and put our country, our collective matrimony in danger, which we in the obedient movement are ready to fight and rescue and get our country back on the line.
Thank you very much for being as obedient as I would think, assertive, and always in control of your atmosphere.
Sure.
Either in digitalia or even in real life. And you guys are proving it on the 25th of February. If anybody thought less of you, of the obedience, at least the remonstrances that you gave political arguments on the 25th now is established fact. However, let's be very methodical about how we go about it today. Are you, if I may ask, a bona fide member of the Labour Party, or are you an obedient? Because some, like your colleague, what's the name of this, my sister, the hijab wearing
Aisha Yusuf.
Aisha Yusuf has distinctly stated that she is a proud obedient but not a card-carrying member of the Labour Party. In which category do you fall into?
I fall in between both and even three.
Okay.
And I will explain.
Please do.
One, as an obedient person believing in the ideological belief of Peter Obi, which has transformed into the Labour Party movement, I am obedient. As a party member, I am a party member. And then thirdly, with regards to what really brought about the movement or the political trajectory in this narrative, it is good to you to know that the third force movement, under the leadership of Professor Pat Utomi, under the Big Tent, which I am the chief spokesman, midwife the negotiation to bring back the Labour Party into the stratum of this particular political dispensation. By infraction, almost all of us who have been part of that particular Big Tent and the National Consultative Front are by infraction members, because we believe that power can be wrestled through the vehicle of the Labour Party.
Fantastic. Clarity is shaping up. But you used to be the chairman of a registered political party once in Nigeria, and at some point you used to be the chairman of the inter-party, the umbrella that brings all registered political parties together. You used to be either the chairperson or the spokesperson.
Correct. I was the chairman of the National Conscience Party. On the 22nd of February, I stepped aside as the chairman of the National Conscience Party, which was registered by INEC. But at the same time, the National Conscience Party also endorsed Peter Obi as his candidate, joining and working together in alliance under the Big Tent and making sure that our candidate is Peter Obi and Deti Baba Ahmed. Okay. That aside. And then I was also the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, the chairman of all political parties within 2015, yeah. And then I was the chairman also as a member of the National Peace Committee under former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, or head of state, Abdulsalam Abubakar. And also, finally, I was a presidential candidate in 2019.
Okay. Now, we just have to start with you before we go in the direction of your party and your candidate.
Fantastic.
You people genuinely believe that you were robbed. You were robbed of victory in the last presidential poll.
True.
You genuinely believe.
Genuinely.
And somebody like me would want to ask you, can you please just give a clear understanding of why somebody like me should believe that you were genuinely robbed?
Okay, it's just like you sitting in your house. Let me just give you a layman example, and then you give rules and regulation of how you want your house to be adhered to. Then it's somebody who believes that probably has more laws than you come into that particular house of yours and circumvent that particular rules that you have already put on ground for you to follow. And then you will keep quiet and think that you are not robbed. And then to allude to that particular fact, section 40, section 40, section 40, section 50, and section 60 of the Electoral Act, which was extrapolated and presented to the Nigerian people by the present INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, was completely circumvented. Completely. Okay. And that on that particular fact, we were logically, lawfully manipulated and insulting the integrity and the sensibility of the Nigerian people.
Good enough. Many of you people are well educated, and we have read that about 2 scores of senior advocates of Nigeria have volunteered to help you articulate what you believe at the presidential elections tribunal, petitions tribunal. However, I would rather want to say at this juncture that there are 2 major constitutionally stipulated criteria that speak to whoever would emerge in a presidential electoral combat in Nigeria.
Correct.
The 2 criteria are essentially the person that scores the highest number of votes, and inclusive of scoring the highest number of votes, that person must also score minimum of 25% of the votes cast in 24 states of the Federation and Abuja.
Exactly.
Now, some are saying that because the word "and" or the phrase "and Abuja" is used, that it has automatically become 3 criteria. 1 being highest number of votes, 2 being scoring 25% of votes cast in 24 states, and that inevitably the person must also score 25% in Abuja. However, some have alluded to the fact that there is an extant and subsisting Supreme Court judgment on General Muhammadu Buhari against Olusegun Obasanjo in 2003 that says that Abuja could be construed as a state. Okay, but the point I'm trying to get to is this. Anybody who denies the fact that there were incidents of voter suppression in, say, Lagos, which could have robbed many of your faithful or many of your likely voters the opportunity to cast their vote, that person will be lying. I've been a journalist for a number of decades, and at my age I must not be subscribing to lies. So I am one who believes that you could have scored far more in Lagos than you did. I'm also one who believes that there are cases of voter suppression even in a place like Abuja that you people won clearly. So you could have gotten more. But how would you explain to me, in view of the constitutional criteria that I enunciated earlier on, how would you explain to me the fact that your candidate did not win any Muslim dominated state in Nigeria? No single Muslim dominated state in Nigeria did your candidate win. And apart from that, in the places where there are enormous amount of votes in Nigeria, your candidate did not even score the minimum constitutionally required 25%. Not in Kano, not in Sokoto, not in Kebbi, not in Zamfara. No, those states are still states of Nigeria. How would you respond to that?
Thank you very much. It's because of the allocation of the vote that happened.
Allocation?
Yes, and I'll prove it. On the 25th of February, 3 elections took place. The Federal House of Reps, the Senate, and then the presidential election. Now, on that same day, only 2 election results were being uploaded into the INEC server. The Federal House of Reps, the Senate. The presidential election was not uploaded. So I could ask you the same thing. What stopped you or stopped them from uploading the real result? I can tell you authoritatively, I am from Kano State, a bona fide son of Kano State. My mother is from Kabo local government. My father is from Kula local government. And I grew up here in Mushi in Lagos. And I can tell you authoritatively, we have humongous support of our voters in Sabon Gari in Kano, which will have constituted more than 25% that was required for us to win election. And I challenge any one of them to bring out the real results that was casted in Nigeria and present it to the glaring of the Nigerian people, and then you will find out that some majority of the states in the north where Muslims are dominated, Peter Obi had is 25%. And look at it clearly. For those who have manipulated the system, where they ought not to have even won 25%, they ensure that in all of the places that we are popular, most of them, they won 25%. That is where the manipulation came from. Because as we speak right now, if INEC know that they are telling us the truth, and they are telling the Nigerian the truth, especially the Nigerian youth, they should be able to allow us to investigate and to inspect the beavers machine, which they have denied us right now as we're speaking. Not only that, INEC deny us that particular opportunity of going. They are right now reconfiguring the beavers machine
because of the inevitability
of proving to the fact that what I am saying is true.
No,
because
no, not necessarily.
No, it is, because if not, why would they not agree to the first judgment of the court?
They agreed.
No, they didn't. No. If they agree, they will have allowed us, because we wrote to them immediately that we are going to inspect this particular material. They deny us. What did they do? They went again to seek for a waiver that we cannot be able to go through that particular because there was no particular time. But yet, the same the same court gave them an order that they can reconfigure, and they've already started the configuration. Why do they not allow us to inspect that particular machine before they start the configuration?
But in your position as an experienced politician,
yes.
In your position as an experienced politician,
yes,
and given the fact, sorry, having some technical glitches here, and given the fact that you in particular,
yes,
actively participated with leaders of political parties who interacted with INEC, you have always known that between the usage of the contraption for the federal elections, National Assembly, Reps and Senate and Presidential, and the usage for the state elections, governorships and the state houses of assembly, you knew that that contraption would have to be reconfigured, and INEC had always stated even before the election came that it was going to take 5 days.
And at the same time, I will throw it back on you. You also know that even if you are to reconfigure, when there are issues raised on that particular document, it becomes onerous on you, on your integrity, to allow those who are challenging that particular to have access to what you claim to have been the facts. That was not done. And let me also say, and then for you to understand that this particular document that we're talking about, the beavers machine, is just like your phone. It is just like your phone. What is happening is that I have sent messages or I've received messages from A. It's stored in my phone. Doesn't stop me from receiving messages from B or working for B. It doesn't. When you say you want to reconfigure, what it simply means is just like you flashing that particular phone and all other information goes away. Yes, there's a catchment here. The INEC said they are going to take it for a backup. In your honor, on your honor, as a kind of right umpire who is passionate about this country, should have said, okay, those who are in dispute of this particular result that I have given, come before I make that particular backup. This is exactly what is contained in this particular phone of mine, and I'm taking it to this particular place for safekeeping. Can you all certify that that is what it is done? That was not done. That is the same thing that could have happened at every point in time when we are going to election. Because INEC want credibility of the process. What do? They call all of the agents, come and verify that this document A, B, C, D is available for this particular election, and all of you can certify that this document is going to be used for this particular election. They needed the credibility. What is difficult for you if you want credibility that regard to the process and regard to the results that you already, and say, hey, all the agents come and verify. This is exactly what but because they want to circumvent the rule of law and subvert the will of the people and cover up their tracks, they are already configuring the previous machine. But they made the mistake. The mistake they are making is number one. We have our result sheet on our hand, signed and stamped by all of the agents. And so we are saying that within the next 3 days, if INEC refuse to allow us to go to that particular, we will ask all of our members to go onto the street and march to INEC in a civil disobedience, because we cannot be completely be circumvented on a continual basis. What we are asking is that the process of the election must be seen to be seemingly free and fair for the interest of the Nigerian people. Anything short of that, the Nigerian people, especially the youth, who have now decided to vote for a candidate of their choice, have been denied that they are right. So if they take this particular laws into their hand, nobody should roll out any army, because if they do, we are ready to fight for the right of the Nigerian people, especially our future. This is not a threat.
Okay, let's take it one by one, and I must advise you that you don't want to be speaking to violence. You don't want to be misconstrued by your followers and people who are members of your party or who are party faithful. You don't want to be misconstrued by them to be speaking to the fact that you want to encourage them to go and break the law.
Not at all. Doing a civil obedience is a normal process, even in the law. It gives you right to demonstrate and see that if things are not done right, you have the right to demonstrate. It's a provision of the law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Fantastic. To be honest with you, I agree with you, but there's a difference between civil disobedience and violence.
Of course there is, and we have never been violent, not in once. We have been attacked, we have been killed, we have been maimed, we have been attacked physically, and nobody, not a single attack, not single arrest was made. And you have never seen any obedient person in any way attacking anybody physically or any way. So you cannot, on record, we have it, that these particular people have intimidated us, they have stabbed us, they have killed us. Not only have they have even killed us mentally.
Okay, you know what? At the end of the day, demonstrations may take place from here to Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. At the end of the day, the only other body that has the right now to vary the officially announced results are the elections petitions tribunals.
Correct.
Now, it is just somewhat ironic to me that in most of the places where the landslide of support for your party led to the defenestration or decapitations of some political hegemons, you don't seem to be complaining. You guys are indeed celebrating with your elected members of the National Assembly.
Yes, because their results were not in contravention of the provision of the law. Their results were uploaded and their result was placed on you, and you can never see any one of us challenging that. If this particular result has already been uploaded according to the voting that took place, you will have seen our principal also going to even say, congratulations, you have won. What we are challenging is actually the process of the election that was not done, and the kind of belief and the kind of showering of praises on INEC, hoping that they will follow the rules of law, and then they just drop it just like that in the minds of the Nigerian people, is what we are challenging.
Is it not ironic that at the level of the polling units, you and the other parties, at least there are 17 other parties apart from the party that has been declared to be the winner of the presidential ballot, or presidential poll, your party and the other parties have agents.
Correct.
And representatives of sort at this. Now, beyond that level, at the level of the World Collation Centers nationwide, you had agents. At the level of the local government collation points, you had agents.
That's right.
At the level of the state collation points, you had agents. And up onto the level of the presidential election collation point, that's the National Collation Center for the Presidential Poll, you had agents. Now, given the layers of transparency and accountability that this architecture provides, don't you think that it should be easier for you people to prove to a court that you won, rather than all these histrionics, the drama, the activism, the agitation, when ordinarily you have evidences and facts with which you can prove that you were robbed?
Just like as you are just saying, is it not the same thing that we are saying? We are saying that we have our proof, and we want to inspect the document that provided that will be used for this particular area because it contravenes with the result that we have. But the umpire is saying that you cannot even investigate, you cannot inspect that particular document. So it was clear. Just like what we've learned over. We've learned over the period that yes, this particular election or the subsequent that they are coming, which we are prepared.
Some of your supporters are
Badebo Rose now, for example.
We will get to Badebo Rose. Some of the supporters, you guys control the contemporary technology.
It is our time.
We are not saying
no, you are trying to circumvent it. They are trying to circumvent it. It's our time, and we must fight for it.
You know what? I've snubbed other political parties.
They are welcome.
I've snubbed them coming there. But when they said, an obedient, just to pacify this our youngsters, and let them know that some of us don't have anything against the OB movement. That's why you are here. So it's your time.
We say our time. We don't necessarily mean you. We don't necessarily mean you. But we are saying even it should be a thing of
okay, let's read some of these contributions by Power Corridor. The obedient movement today is beyond Mr. Peter Obi today, by Odaba. I want to let you know that the obedient are people with like minds. INEC deceived us with beavers. Okay, another person. Good afternoon, Mr. Gbola Oba. Please ask your guest how possible for Peter Obi to have won the election with campaign that is based on tribal sentiments, religious bigotry, and propaganda. Were the elections in Southeast also rigged? You want to respond to the two contributions from some of the listeners?
I agree with the first presentation that yes, the obedient movement is beyond, because we should be happy. At the point in time, remember, in this country, we were more or less like almost coercing, forcing our Nigerian youth to join the political movement, so that they should also be able to come out and vote and be registered.
And now they are enthusiastically
and then we are dashing their hope. Don't you know that we are putting ourselves in danger? Because the tenets of training them.
We are not dashing their hope.
No, we are. We are. Many of them have lost. They have lost this particular period of time. Somebody just committed suicide, a young person, because the hope was so high that his vote will count and the process will be seemingly free and fair. That was not done.
Unfortunate.
So how well do you want them to be?
We pray that the God that he or she served before he or she passed on to glory would rest his or her soul in peace, in bliss. But having said that, that is why people like you and I, people like you and I, even you, as a very known obedient in today's Nigeria, that is why your voice and the things you will speak to these young impressionistic minds must be calm, and you must let them know that you have the confidence in the evidence that you have garnered to rescue what you believe may have been stolen, rather than these heightened, excitable statements, because some of them, like you stated, using the allusion of this person who committed suicide, some of them may be led to...
Where were you when the so-called president-elect was saying that power is not served a la carte? He said you have to fight for you have to manipulate for you have to struggle for it. It was done on the public me. Those people who put it...
That was during the partisan campaign.
No, in the world of campaign, are you not supposed to be civil? Remember, our candidate was very civil. He never attacked anybody. Neither did he. And we too, as a person, I have never attacked anybody. I have never spoken against anybody, not physically, not anywhere. And what we are doing, I must assure you that what we are doing is giving them hope that there are some people who have their heads on their neck. If I was defeated freely and fair, I will go and constitute a very big press conference and congratulate the winner. That's what I would have done. And then the other person who was talking about religion and all, I don't think you have been fair. You should have been happy. We don't have a cult member seeking for election. You don't have somebody who goes to Ojija, at least you have been public. I would have, if you have been public. It would have been public for those who have been doing it. They didn't hide it. Those who stripped themselves naked and went to the sea, to the river, they were public and they didn't hide. But here you have somebody who is a believer in God Himself. He goes to the church and seeks for support from his own people. He goes to the mosques. Peter Obi has gone to visit Sheikh Mahmoud Gumi. He has visited Tahiru Bauchi in Kano. I have visited Muslim clerics. So there's no dichotomy to say that probably we are being religious or tribal. There is no tribalistic positioning. I am an Hausa man and I'm supporting Peter Obi. That doesn't mean that, okay, it's being tribalistic. Is it the Igbo person that is speaking to him alone? No, I am a Muslim. I have Nana Kazore, who is a daughter of a king from Jigawa, supporting Peter Obi. So many people have been supporting Peter Obi. It's not based on that. It is because we have gotten so much popularity that those who want to hang us and give us a bad name may now hang the issue of religion. Don't forget, at the point in time when Buhari ran for election, majority of the followers were Muslims from the north, from my own side of the throne. Nobody colorized him as a religious bigot. Nobody said he was a religious bigot. Is it because now? No.
It's often done in partisan politics.
Now I thank you very much for agreeing that it was not a partisan politics. For those who not want to be deceived by that particular statement, is the rhetoric of those who want to manipulate your mind and keep on giving you a dichotomy of division. There is no division, and Peter Obi has made it very clear that he don't vote for me because I'm a Christian. Don't vote for me because I'm come from an Igbo expression.
Dr. Yunusa,
I have the credibility.
Dr. Yunusa Tanko.
Yes, sir.
The owners of this program are the listeners.
Yes.
And they have the right to directly interact with you.
Please.
My own role to introduce and keep the fire burning. The numbers to call, should you be listening to this very engaging session with Dr. Yunusa Tanko, the Chief Spokesperson of the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council, indeed the Chief Surrogate of the Obedient Movement, official Chief Surrogate of the Obedient Movement. The numbers to call are 070-322-77338. 070-322-77338 or 090-9555-1039. 090-9555. We have a call. I want to beg everybody listening to us, let's keep our questions short and clean. Don't abuse the guest. You may have differences with him, and if you want to support him too, don't let's use languages that will speak to violence. Hello, sir. Your name?
Hello, Mr. Gbola Oba. Good evening, Baba.
Good evening. Your name, please, and where you are calling from.
My name is Ibrahim from Ilasa.
Fantastic. You have Dr. Yunusa Tanko as
my brother. Good evening.
Good evening from Ilasa. I remember Ilasa very well. Very close to us in Mushi there.
Oga, you are a politician, and I know politicians very well.
Yes.
You people like to use propaganda strategy, all these things together, that to make people believe in what you are saying, that whether it's true. You know, this thing, so far I say that you people have evidence, just calm down, you know, collect your evidence together and take it to the tribunal. We don't want one in this country. You say that someone commit suicide and kill himself. I want to use this opportunity to pay the condolence, you know, greeting to the family.
Thank you very much.
A lot of people die during June 12th under MKO Abiola, and at the end of the day, Nigeria continue. You understand, my brother? Everybody should calm.
Calm down.
Everybody should calm.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Other calls are trying to come in.
You said you're going to give me time for Bade Boros. Okay.
You want to respond to him?
Yes, I will respond to him. The truth is that while we are calm, remember our presidential
we have another caller. You can be writing the questions down. Hello? Caller, good evening this evening. Your name, please, and where you are calling from.
Good evening. This is Lucky.
Lucky, where you? From Yaba. Lucky from Yaba.
Yeah.
Dr. Yunusa Tanko is all yours.
You see, one thing in Nigeria government, they don't like Nigeria youth. You understand what I'm saying?
Why do you believe that?
Yes, because if they like Nigeria youth, they have to encourage Nigeria youth. Say, this nation wanna hold it well. I believe when all those elders that they go school, things not they hard.
Like this, yeah, you are right.
Not there like this.
Yeah.
When they go school, I believe many of them they free education. I remember when Abu Sali, when I was in Delta, Abu Sali, free book, free education.
In Bendel state of those days.
Bendel, and if you want to vacate, Abu Sali will give us one bag of rice, one good. Each class. You understand what I'm saying? But that time when they go school, no hardship. Now, this time around, Nigeria youth, they face a lot of hair. When you enter VI, then you go see where boys, they sleep around. That's a quote turn about. It's a very pity. It's very
okay. Thank you. Other callers are trying to call in, so thank you very much for your contribution. Dr. Yunusa Tanko will at some point. Doctor,
yeah,
you get a lot of calls, especially because your adherents, the obedience, they control another call. They control the telco space these days. Hello, caller. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening, Gbola. Good evening, Doc. My name is Omoha. I'm calling from Eleko in Lagos. I want to first of all commend the great work people are doing there.
Thank you.
The truth is that we have to take what belongs to us in this context. We've been on this sad platform, for a very long time. And then now that the youth are out and said, come, we need to get back this country and put it on the track. And the older generation are denying us that opportunity, that privilege, that opportunity.
Why do you believe that? Why do you believe that?
Let me give you an instance.
Okay.
In my locality around here,
okay,
the governorship election that was supposed to be tomorrow.
You are in a Chelsea. I want to believe you are in a Chelsea or Ibeju LCDA. Okay.
Ibeju.
Okay.
Yeah. Many of the youths around here are saying that since their vote didn't count during the presidential election, it's useless for them to go out again to cast because they believe that their vote will not count. It's such a great deal of disappointment.
But like I've always said on this program, that would be a disaster. How could you people have started the vehicle? The engine is running well. You have shown the world that you can move that vehicle from one point to the other, and suddenly, because there was just a little blockage, and that blockage may likely even be moved through litigation, you people want to then not move ahead and prove further that you are in control this time. It will be sad.
Please, do you really think there is hope, considering the fact that they are blocking every opportunity and every way that
I can feel it in your voice. I can feel disillusionment in your voice.
Inspection of the beavers machine. I mean, that's not fair enough.
You're right. You know what I want to
for 1 month for us to be able to inspect the beavers machine and every other material that was used for this presidential election. Then thereafter, we can always go for our governorship elections until we get the presidential. That Abuja will get it right.
Okay, thank you for calling. Thank you. Before Doc, before you respond to this, I have consistently said on this program since the last elections and the pervasive atmosphere of disillusionment of many of the obedient, or many of our youths who may not even be obedient but who feel shortchanged, that if you, because of what is happening with the presidential poll, you are so disillusioned not to come out for the governorship and the state houses of assembly, you will have yourselves to blame. And the reason why I'm saying this is that you have proven by the National Assembly elections, as we speak now, there are 8 parties represented in the Nigerian upper chamber, the Senate, and 9 parties represented in the House of Representatives. It is through the momentum of you youths. Another call.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Your name and where you are calling from?
Good evening. My name is Friday. I go from Banana Island.
Please go ahead.
Okay, my contribution is that the problem of this country is not for those politicians. It's for the situation. The problem is causing for this INEC. The INEC that the problem of this country because they are not making things right. And if you are not making a country where the INEC is not straightforward, the country must be having problems at all times.
I can feel you. Thank you very much for calling. Okay, Doctor, which one?
I will take all of them.
Another call. Sorry. At some point, we stop the call for you. Good evening this evening. Your name and where you are calling from, please.
Okay, my name is Abdul. I'm calling from Aja.
Okay.
In fact, we need to thank you for the program. It's a very good one.
Thank you very much.
Like every other person has said, you see, the problem is not that the youth or the principal mandate don't know how to equally do what these guys in power do. But how long do we keep holding on for justice to be done in this country? In my polling unit where I voted, we know the number. My brother, see, you cannot deceive yourself from truth, for God's sake. Nigerians will march to that judiciary they are seeing. They will march to that Supreme Court and show overwhelming evidences. You cannot take away what... Listen, some of us sacrificed 48 hours, left our place of staying and travel all the way some other places to sleep, spend money in the hotel to vote. At the end of the day, somebody trapped everything around. You know, it doesn't make sense. INEC is like somebody said, INEC is the problem. But unfortunately, INEC is not the problem because somebody nominated or appointed INEC. So we cannot come back and be saying Obi is too quiet. If Obi keep being too quiet, nothing will happen. Nigerians need to protest. Protest is legal. Protest is legal.
Okay,
Nigerians need to come out.
Yeah, protest is legal. I must say there's even a court, there's a court judgment gotten by Falano against the Nigerian police as far back as almost 10 years now. Protest is legal, but we must distinguish between civil orderly protest and protest that could be leveraged by criminal and mischievous elements to damage, destroy, vandalize people's properties and take people's lives. And I always accentuate to you youths, I say that you must realize that NSAS was a well-planned protestation. NSAS for the first 7 days took some of us so much by surprise that we were crediting and applauding and eulogizing you youths for the sense of organization you put into it. But from the moment that some waifs and strays took advantage of it to go and attack the Igomu police formation and burnt it down, killed some police officers, took uniforms and guns, from that moment the conduct that was so exemplary and uplifting for the first 7 days, some of us started seeing bad judgment that were put into place that turned it to nobody can excuse some of the things that happened, but you people could have managed it better too. So I want to agree that protest is legal but violence is illegal. Doctor, if we keep taking this course, let's take this one. Okay, caller, your name please and where you are calling from.
Yes, my name is Mr. Sama.
And where you're calling from, please?
I'm calling from Aja.
Okay. Dr. Yunusa is all yours.
Yes, what I want to say about this matter is that there is no any justice in this world. You understand? Am I here?
I'm listening. We are listening to you. I may not agree with you, but I don't want to disturb your line of thought.
What I try to say is that the day of election, why don't you mount soldiers all around the unit? They are now be saying, everybody are now be saying different kind of things. I don't even understand what is going on in this country, but what I believe is that after this election, whatever what the government see, they will take it like that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Doc, we just have to let you also respond to some of these.
Yes, quickly, because that of Abdul Friday caller and the last caller almost aligned with what I'm about to say. But I don't want to add to what you say about the answers. Look, those of us who have been on the streets, demonstrating and protesting. It's something I was the leader, I was the field marshal of the Save Nigeria group that led that struggle to the not the National Assembly, to the Secretary of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. For a continuous struggle, for those who want to circumvent the interests of the people, the last statement you made was orchestrated just to discredit the NSAS movement. It was not done by the NSAS people. What you saw,
we knew it was not done.
Look, so what you saw was the security operative and arranging that particular killing just to give the NSAS movement a bad name.
And they ended up killing other security operatives.
Of course, they do.
They sacrificed them. And they ended up opening.
They sacrificed.
And they ended up breaching the security of 2 prisons in Benin City.
What would you say about what happened in his prison in Abuja?
And they ended up.
What did you say? What happened?
Don't conflate issues.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you what takes place in the security apparatus.
We are speaking to NSAS. And you are giving me now another dimension that I never had.
Yes,
before.
because people don't look at it from that angle. But I don't want to give credit to the people.
Some people may say that what you have proceeded now is more of a conspiracy theory than the facts that could be verified.
Yes, there are conspiracy theory against the NSAS movement. Conspiracy. And because that particular struggle that you saw was going beyond their expectation, it could have engulfed the whole country at a point in time. So they needed to do it. They've done it severally. We know.
And they killed and they deliberately set up machinery to kill policemen in Igomu.
I said
in Lagos, more than 23 police formations were burnt down.
When the state is at stake, they do everything that they can to protect it. That you can take to the bank. They do everything that they can. We are here We are here when we were here when Clinton was making statements that the issue of Abacha and Abiola has gotten them up to the Rubicon. We are here when we can allude to the fact that Abiola, Abacha were both eliminated. You can allude to that particular fact. It was so. But anyway, that's aside. That is aside. We in the movement, we in the civil society group, those who are activists like us know some of these particular facts. But of course, we have to prove it beyond reasonable doubt. So please don't give the NSAS youth that particular negative feeling that probably they mismanaged that particular demonstration. No, sir, they did not. They did the best they could. Only the security men of the country tried to conspire against themselves, not against the people. That aside.
As Peter of this chief spokesperson.
Yes.
I wonder, have you ever asked him why did he go to get the injunction not to give his own personal testimony at the tribunal that was set up to review police's mishandling of citizens in Anambra?
Don't forget that Peter Obi during his tenure in Anambra State for 8 good years, there was no single armed robbery. Go and fact check.
No, but there
one single armed robbery.
There was an instance of Akuza youths, more than 100 youths found on a body of water, and he was the governor.
You cannot.
And when they wanted to call him to give evidence, he went to court to go and get an injunction, not to be summoned.
Because you are only trying to give him a name that is not his. That was why he had to protect his integrity. It's a simple issue. And then when you look at it, Peter Obi has been very clearly, if he's dealing with issues, he deal with it, he criminalizes it when based on the laws of the land.
If you said there was no single robbery or kidnapping when Peter Obi was governor,
yes, why
was it that it was under Peter Obi that the houses where kidnapped victims were kept were mauled down even without this thing? So there must have been kidnapping.
No, I am telling you about armed robbery. I can see that your cap even had the labor movement. So when you are talking, we talk in the fact of circles of truth. We don't talk in him. So I will not be amazed that you are obedient in a diverse manner. But anyway, let me continue to talk. In that particular regard,
I'm non-partisan.
Okay, when we talk about calm down, we do calm down.
The only thing I have in common with you is our Muslim background. I'm a Muslim boy.
Okay, that's very good. And now, so therefore, with regard to the issue of calming down, we have calmed down. Even our principal had made it clear. Even when we are going to court, he said, don't turn it into a campaign scenario. We will go there and present our document. So I can assure you, we are law abiding. Whatever you see us will do, we will do it based on the provision of the law. And that is why we are taking caution because of the 18th election, the 18th of March election. We are trying to make sure that Gbadebo Rose Vegas did not suffer any of this kind of level of intimidation. For a gentleman of 40 years, remember, the Nigerian youth earned the respect for the music industry. It was their own. They also earned the respect for the Hollywood. Yeah, it is their own. All over the country. And that is the reason why.
Even startups, you have 5 unicorns now. Out of the 7 unicorns from Africa, you have 5 unicorns coming from Nigeria.
Can you imagine?
Speaks to the fact that our youths are very creative.
Very creative. And that is the reason why they should own this particular project of Gbadebo Rose Vegas, because he is a young man who believes in the Nigerians. He wants to emancipate you from the tax collectors who have put you into a lot of poverty. He wants to emancipate you from making of there is no unemployment. He wants to emancipate you.
But how would you then reconcile that with the fact that some of your supporters are said they are so disillusioned now they don't want to come out?
No, that is why we are trying to encourage them. To encourage them that they are going to be secured. Their lives and their property will be secured. Gbadebo Rose Vegas will ensure, he and his deputy will ensure that Lagos is not the same old state where people are taking
let's take about
so come out in large number to vote. While we continue our
give you the opportunity to round up with that.
Yes, please.
Good evening, caller. Your name and where you are calling from.
Good evening. Well done and well done. Greet our guest.
Yeah, Dr. Yunusa Tanko.
Yunusa Tanko. I greet him.
Thank you, sir.
Done. And God will see us through.
Amen, sir.
My name is Samson. I'm calling from Keno side.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Samson.
Yeah, see, one thing I just want
Samson, you have to be very fast. We have to wrap up soon.
I want us to know is that a sick person
Yeah.
will not revive immediately. He has to take somebody that is sick and is depreciated. No amount of food you give to him in a week that will make him to come up at the same time. He has to go on a gradual line. You see, the youth of Nigeria, we are jumping so high, and the youth, we are jumping. And if you jump that way, it may likely crash.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Samson. I have to wrap up now. We really pressed for time. Shoge from Bagada. Shoge, I believe I've called Shoge from Bagada. If we're serious, we can't participate fully in the election cycle and say we are disillusioned. If INEC promised real-time transmission of election results as a serious demographic of the nation, did we care to know what the law says in this regard? Another one says Chief Oba is APC man. I watched on TV, somebody is saying I'm APC man. Yeah, opinions can be very varied, but I know I'm non-partisan. Having said that, Doc, how would you want to wrap up in view of the fact that some of your supporters are speaking to disillusionment, in view of the fact that you people have another round of elections, and not only Gbadebo Rose-Bifor, if you people ultimately get Gbadebo Rose-Bifor elected and the House of Assembly is in the hand of another party, so you cannot only be speaking anyway. You don't have most of the places. You don't even have contestants in some of the House of Assembly constituencies.
We have a majority of them contested. It may not be all, and that is the reason why we are saying that it is Labour Party all the way. If you think that you have voted before for Peter Obi, this is the time for you to double down on that particular voting. You must come out to vote for Peter for Gbadebo and all other candidates. Kaduna, Asake, Datum in Plateau, all over the federation. We have Alex Oti there in Abia. All of them are contesting. So please come out and double down and vote. We have candidates who are capable of turning around this particular narrative that we're doing. The struggle is not over yet. The struggle is about the soul of Nigeria. And Lagos is where it started. And Lagos, we must finish it to make sure that we vote in Gbadebo, Rose, Vegas, including his deputy.
I like the phraseology. Lagos is where it started.
Yes,
because the colonization of Nigeria started in 1861, August 7, by the treaty, by the Session Treaty of Lagos.
Yes.
Before Nigeria was even totally. So okay, maybe you want to use Lagos.
We are not colonizing Lagos, but we are assimilating each other. Because virtually almost some of us who come from different states, this particular allusion that somebody come from there is not a true indigene. Gbadebo Road Lagos is a true indigene of Lagos.
Oh yes.
We have even
had him on the guest on this show. We had him on the guest on this show, and I even shocked him that his family history is traceable in Lagos from 1840s.
Thank God you said so. Not those who are coming from Osun State or Ogun State or any other state to come and govern the people of Lagos, and yet they are claiming to be Lagosians. All of us are Lagosians because we grow up in Lagos, and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has said once you have when you're 10 years in that position, you have the right to read.
Right.
And that is exactly. And when we people go up north or go to any country, we are proud to be part of the democratic settings in the other countries. But when it comes to us in Nigeria, we refuse to practice it the way. So Gbadebo, Rose, Vegas, all the way Labour Party on the 18th.
Thank you.
No shaking.
On that free commercial note that you are not paying for, I will want to say it's been a pleasure having you in the studio.
Thank you very much for having me.
I could see that many of the calls we couldn't take. We want to say thank you to you listeners. This is where we wrap it. Thank you for today.
Thank you very much for the obedience in you all. God bless you.